Hey everyone, this is Dash Shell Rose here, back with another Family Guy video. This time I'm going to be doing a good episode from season 11. Honestly, I'm getting to the point where I'm kind of getting burnt out on Family Guy. I really don't want to review this stuff, but I gotta do it because you guys want it. And I don't really have another show right now to review. I actually had to watch season 11 on Hulu because by season 11, I mean this episode on Hulu because I don't have it on DVD. I thought I did because volume 11, but nope. It's not, it's called Volume 11, but it's not Season 11, it's just Volume 11. God, I hate it when Seth MacFarlane fucking makes his titles, his DVDs like that. I really do. Like, why can't he call it Season 10 instead of Volume 11? I don't know. But I really did want to review because in Season 13, I'm going to be reviewing a first episode, too. Of Family Guy. I'll be doing that too. But yeah, I had a hard time picking an episode, and I didn't want to go through watching all of them, so that's why I picked this one. I was thinking about picking it at first, but then I'm like, well, I'm going to be doing season 13 and stuff too with the first episode, but then I'm like, well, I can't find another episode, so I'm just going to do this. So I'm doing this. Anywho, let's get started. This is the title, Into Fat Air. Basically, the Griffin family are invited over to Ross Fishman's house for dinner. Yeah, remember that guy all the way back in season 3? You know, the show completely forgot about him. Well, he has a family. He's apparently Peter's still jealous of Ross Fishman and all that, and he's still jealous of him, and yeah, I'm just like, I don't know, I'm like, I know this is modern Family Guy, this isn't like the older seasons, but still, I'm like, why do we gotta keep seeing Peter jealous of other males? I mean, it's kind of his character, but I'm like, we've seen this so many times before, and I'm like, and plus it's Ross Fishman, an episode we already seen him in season 3, so I'm like, why do we need to see Peter jealous again? But anywho, they're invited to dinner, and Ross and his family talk about how they're going to be climbing Mount Everest, the world's dangerous mountain. I'm sure it's not as dangerous as a volcano, but it's like Mount Everest is like the opposite of a volcano. Instead of you burning to death from the lava and the heat by standing by a volcano, it goes by you freeze to death. Yeah, I would never go on a mountain. Mount Everest. I would never do that. For one reason, I'm scared of heights. And number 2, I wouldn't want to risk being froze to death. Yeah, and this episode makes me really not want to go on Mount Everest. But apparently, Peter's like, we're climbing Mount Everest too, because he's jealous of Ross Fishman, and the Griffin family end up not doing it. They don't want to do it because Peter just said that just to sound cool, but then Lois is like, because the Ross Fishman people are assholes and treat the Griffin family like shit, and they end up Lois pushes them to do it anyway. So yeah, we get them going to Mount Everest, and we get some decent jokes, some kind of hit or miss. It's kind of, they're not all that great. I mean, they're not. And they got some cutaway gags some that are good, some that are bad. I like the cutaway gag where like God and Jesus are trying to come up with a name for this country, and it's pretty funny. And then we get, a segment with a talking yak. It's pretty funny too. But basically, they climb the mountain. They're basically trying to beat, the fishermen's, or whatever their names are. Or I guess fishmen, I guess. It's not fishermen, it's fishmen up the mountain. So we get some decent jokes, some here and there, but it's kind of bland. The episode's kind of bland. I mean, it's not very interesting. It's not awful either, but it's not that interesting. And then they get to the top, only for it to turn out that apparently, the fishermen people actually beat them to the top, even though when they got to the top, it zoomed out that they were not at the top of the mountain. So they either had a bad animation error, or not showing them at the top of the mountain, or they just lied to them to make them feel bad. But I have a feeling the writers were like thinking that they wanted them to beat the Griffins to the top of the mountain. But yeah, I'm just like that. That's like a bad animation error. I know with shows there's gonna be there'll be moments where they don't have good animation errors. I mean there's one in SpongeBob, like someone pointed out in one of the newer seasons, where the Krusty Krab disappeared and stuff in one scene. But I'm just like, well, this is, I still don't like the errors that much. These are like too big errors. I also like the artwork on this. I just realized this a second ago that this has Stewie's original eyes and Brian's original kind of like who gives a crap, look. And so it's kind of got like the Griffin family's older looking designs. Well, Peter, Lois, and Chris still look the same. But Chris doesn't have his earrings, but Stewie and Brian kind of look like they're classic, like seasons 1, 2, and 3 counterparts. I do like that detail. I'm not sure if this is a DVD or not. It says Fox and Fall. I'm not sure. But anywho, I'm here to talk about where this episode gets kind of dark. It gets really dark, like, at times. Basically, they run into a snowstorm. You can see why I'm terrified of climbing Mount Everest. This episode right here makes me terrified. And they literally come across someone that freezes to death. Literally freezes to death. And apparently it's, I forgot what his name was. I think it was Ben Fishman, or I don't know, whatever his name was. But basically, he's the Ross Fishman's son. He freezes to death, and they literally eat him to death. I think they go way too far here. I know they needed to eat to survive, but I'm like, it's a cartoon show, and I'm like, I think they went too far with this, like way too far. I mean, you're talking about the same person, that's seen, Dorkly Mario on YouTube. It has Mario literally killing Luigi, and having Mario uses Luigi's skin to keep warm. I mean, that's dark too. That's absolutely horrifying. But this is dark too. Maybe not as dark as that Dorkly bit, but it's still dark. I think they go way too far with it, and but yeah, they get to the bottom and leave the fishermen, fish family to go to the top to look for their son, but at least Lois realizes that they made a mistake. It goes back for them. And basically it kind of just ends with them going to the hospital and Peter telling them that they ate their son. So yeah. So that's basically Into Fat Air. It's a better start to the season than season 10 was, but it's still not like great of an episode. It's kind of dull and boring. I mean, there's some interesting moments, but I wasn't really into the episode when I watched it. I don't think I'm gonna watch the episode again anytime soon. I mean, I don't hate it, but I think I'm gonna give it a meh. That's right, it's gonna get a meh. It's not that interesting, but I think I may watch it again in the future, but I don't think it's that good. It really isn't. It's kind of just, the cutaways are somewhat okay. They're not all that great. And the whole process is just kind of, again, them eating this guy is kind of dark for Family Guy. And Family Guy has had some dark moments. I mean, in season 8, I think it was either season 7 or 8, Stewie literally murdered New Brian. But it was off screen too, so you didn't get to see it. But here we're actually seeing them eat someone. So yeah, it's definitely dark. It definitely makes me feel uncomfortable. But I think it's mad because it's not offensive or anything. It's just not really good. I should probably give it a score too. Well, since it's not that interesting of an episode and it's not one I probably would go back to that often, I think I'm gonna give it. Let's see here. I'm gonna be giving it 47 points. That's right, 47 points. It's a low score, but that's because it's not, like I said, it's not that interesting of an episode. It's really not. I don't think it's that interesting. It's just, I mean, it's a new concept that Family Guy hasn't really done before, but it's just not that interesting. It's kind of not interesting. It's dark. The cuddly gags are kind of hit or miss. It's just not really that interesting. Again, it's getting a meh, meaning it's an episode I could go back to when I feel like it, but it's not an episode I would like to rewatch over and over again. If you get my picture. But like I said, it's just not that interesting, though, and I just think there's better episodes out there, but I don't know what I'm going to do for a bad episode. I'm going to have to see. I was thinking about doing the 3rd episode of the season, but I don't know. Just going to have to see. I can't wait to get done with Family Guy so I can move on to another show. But yeah, I definitely don't want to climb Mount Everest. Even before this episode came out, I didn't want to climb Mount Everest, but seeing this episode makes me really not want to climb out Mount Everest. It makes me fear freezing to death. Anywho, it's probably about time I let this go. I'll see you guys later. I'm at 82 subscribers. Thank you for the support. I'm trying to think what show I'm gonna be doing next. I'm gonna go all the way to season 18 though of Family Guy, and then I'll stop. And I'll explain why I'm gonna stop when I get to season 18. But when we get there, I'll explain it. Anywho, this is Dash Show Rose. Please subscribe for more videos and content. Let's see if we can get to 90 subscribers by the end of February. Anywho, this is Dash Show Rose out.